Solutions to the Dropout Crisis. Addressing the dropout crisis one strategy at a time. Brought to you by the National Dropout Prevention Center with support from Penn Foster and Catapult Learning and in partnership with Clemson Broadcast Productions. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Marty Duckenfield, and I'd like to welcome you all once again to Solutions to the Dropout Crisis. We come here every month with wonderful programming to help you address that challenge of dropout prevention. With me, as often is the case, is the Assistant Director of the National Dropout Prevention Center, Karen Withington. It's good to have you back with me, Karen.
Thank you, Marty. It's always a pleasure to be with you and for such a great show, too.
I've missed you, but here we are in October, and the year is a-going. And lots of things are going to go on now. Everybody's settled in school now. We're kind of back into the routine. But the National Dropout Prevention Center has been planning some things for the fall that you need to hear about. And one of them is coming up this month.
Right, later this month, and it's definitely not too late to register. We have our largest conference of the year, an annual network conference. This year, October 25th through 28th, we're going to be in San Antonio, Texas, at the Riverwalk, which is a beautiful venue, and we'll have over 100 sessions. We'll have 1,000 people there, all talking about dropout prevention strategies and challenges and success stories and tips, and just a great networking event. October 25th through 28th in San Antonio. So please register and come and join us for that.
It's not too late, is it?
Right. And then another of our most popular events will be in February 14th through 17th. We will be in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, another beautiful place, and this is our National At-Risk Youth Forum. Also a wonderful networking event as well. So please come to one or both of those if you can register for those and join us for either of those events.
Oh, those are both fantastic professional development opportunities. I know the forum is over the President's Day weekend, so oftentimes schools will be closed Monday, so take advantage of the opportunity of that. If you can't come for the entire conference, you can come for the weekend events as well as Monday. So
Right.
that's those are two great events. I could tell you from experience from both locations and both settings, it's a great opportunity. So look to that. It's coming up very soon. Now, we have a special program today, and what we love about today's opportunity is our guests are in the studio. And although we love the technology, we love having you here with us so we can have a conversation about something really important. And so, Karen, we're going to be talking today about a kind of a partnership between a university and communities, addressing the need of access to higher education. What could be more important than working towards that high school diploma, but with a purpose to go on for higher education? And this particular program not only affords the opportunity for young people, but also gives them the preparation that they need. And I'm really excited about us talking about emerging scholars today.
Right.
So we will be introducing Amber and Jason in just a moment. But we do want to point out to our viewers that there will be resources on our website here for you to use after the program. Number one is that great video that you're going to see in parts today, and then their website. Those two are two of the best resources that you can imagine. And now, and if you want to engage in conversation with our presenters, of course, we have email addresses and things like that, but there's a discussion board on the website that you can start having a conversation with staff from the National Dropout Prevention Center and with Amber and Jason and others who are interested in the idea of emerging scholars. And now I pass the ball to you, because we're going to talk about Twitter.
Right.
And as some people who have seen this program before, Marty knows nothing about Twitter. So except for to give the address, but I'm going to let you have the honors, Karen, and
Right.
tell everybody about how they can have a conversation during the show and after.
Yeah, so well, we're all about networking and sharing information with everybody. So the more we can have discussion during the program, through the discussion board or through Twitter, and then even afterwards. So our Twitter handles are at NDPCN or at Team ES _Clemson. Those are the you can talk about the program today, or just the general topic of helping high school students see their pathway into post-secondary. So our hashtag we could use would be #HighSchool, since this is a high school program, and it's such a wonderful thing. But that's a very broad category, and so it may help get the word out about the Emerging Scholars Program. To have that conversation on Twitter. So.
Well, I see Amber and Jason nodding their heads, so apparently it makes sense to people who know what you're talking about. Okay, so I think we've covered the territory we need to cover beforehand, and so now it's time to introduce our guests. And Karen, over to you.
Well, I'm very delighted. Today's program is about Clemson University's Emerging Scholars Program. And our guests today are Amber Lange and Jason Combs. Amber is the program director of the Emerging Scholars Program, and she has been involved with them since 2007, and is very active at Clemson University with the faculty and staff, as well as with the Tri-County Technical College TRIO program. And so we're very happy to have Amber. And then Jason is a new assistant director with the Emerging Scholars Program. Happy to have you here today, too, and want to congratulate you. He's a recent graduate of Clemson University. Yes, he's also a graduate of the Emerging Scholars Program himself. So, and active with the U.S. Army Reserve and also with Clemson University faculty and staff. So happy to have you both here to tell us about this great program and help us learn about it.
Well, thank you. And, Jason and I both want to thank you guys to give us the opportunity. We love talking about emerging scholars, and not just because it's our job. We really are passionate about this work and showing students in the Low Country their opportunity they have for higher education. As a lot of people who know us have realized quickly, is we could talk about this for hours and just sit down and tell stories and give you numbers. But we have found what works the best is really showing the students' stories and them personally. So we actually have a video, and we'll show different parts today that will give you a direct glimpse inside of some of the lives of these students and the impact that we've had. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to our first part of the video, and we can see the need that we have here with our 5 of our schools.
I'm from Estill, South Carolina. It's a very low-income community. It was always really frustrating, I guess, to see, because there's so many people, students even, that have so much potential, but because we don't have the resources or the correct people to go to, it's hard to get out. Then came Emerging Scholars when I went to 9th grade. That's where my journey in deciding where I was going to go to school started.
I'm from Allendale Fairfax High School. Well, for starters, it has barbed wire fencing around it. So the students there are already depressed enough as if they're going to a prison. So there's really not a lot of inspiration to help us succeed.
I've been a part of it now for 12 years. It's made a difference in so many of my students' lives. I have college graduates, students that have gone to college, finished high school. We have one of the highest poverty rates in the state. We do the best we can with what we have.
Well, so you can see the glimpse into our communities and the importance of the work we do. But I also do want to show you some numbers. And so here I'm going to show you a stat about that poverty rate. And you saw it there at the end of the video. But when you are talking about the 5 high schools that we work in, 1 in 4 of those students are in poverty. And a couple of our counties, it's actually closer to half. So when you're walking around these towns, when you're in the schools, half of these families are living in an income that's less than $24,000 for a family of 4. As I think we all can agree around the table, that is not enough to really give their family what they need. And so we're really trying to work with our students to change that situation, and they're the ones that can do it with education. Another thing we think that leads to is testing and the scores. And so you can see here, so Allendale County is just one of our 3 counties, and we have compared their math scores in 8th grade to Greenville County. Now, does anyone want 30% to be below state standards? No. But when you look at Allendale County, and it's actually 80% of the 8th graders are testing below state standards, that's just unacceptable. And we really are trying to catch them up and improve those scores. And of course, when you have low test scores, that leads to dropping out. And so we have used the census information, and teenagers who are through the age of 16 through 19, almost 20% of those students in Allendale County do not have a high school degree. And again, we love that number to be 0, but when you look at the upstate versus the low country, those numbers are just so drastically different. And so, of course, we could show you stats like this, and we do sometimes for hours. I mean, there's just all kinds of need in that area. But one thing I think that is more important in most cases is hearing the story. And so that's why Jason being here is just so important, and we're so proud to have him as our new assistant director. As you said before, he was hired in April. And he has his own story. When my first summer back in 2008, he was a student. He was a rising junior. And so I have known Jason now for almost 10 years, which is crazy to think about because must have been 10 when I met him. But yeah, so I want to turn it over to Jason, and he's going to really tell his story about being in the program, being from Allendale, and then how he got to where he is today. So you take it over.
Of course. As Amber stated, my name is Jason Combs. I was born and raised in Allendale County, Allendale, South Carolina. And basically, it's one of the schools that is included in the Corridor of Shame in South Carolina. And I can actually recall going to middle school and only spending 1 year there. And the reason for that happening is because during going into our 7th grade year, they told us that we were going to be relocating. We were going to be in a temporary facility because they were going to be doing some reconstruction and some renovations to our middle school. It was supposed to take briefly about 6 months to a year, and that actually turned into being a longer process. There were funds that were supposed to be coming in for this renovation, and they just completely stopped. So when that happens, that temporary facility that we were in, it turned into be some place that we were staying for a little bit longer. And the actual facility was about maybe 3 to 5 trailers on the side of our high school. So for our 7th grade year and our 8th grade year, we were in between those trailers on the side of our high school and classrooms that are in the back of the high school. So you can imagine the actual, tension and feeling that the students would get actually having to come to these trailers as opposed to an actual school. Another thing is just the high school itself. In that video that we just saw, the high school that is surrounded by barbed wire fencing, that's the high school that I attended. And just pulling up to the school and having that be the place that you're supposed to go to excel in education, and the place that you're supposed to actually come to as a haven for your future, it just is already a damper for a student. And it already puts that low morale for them to actually get a good education and actually want to come and improve themselves. And I can also remember my brother in the elementary school. I remember one day my mother, she called me. I think I was in college at the time, and she just was upset, and she was telling me that she had gotten a letter or a call from the elementary school, and they had told her that they would have to send the students that went to that school layered up in clothing. They would have to bring jackets, maybe even wear like long sleeve shirts, because the heat in the school was actually it wasn't working as it was supposed to. So you have those factors. They're all working together, and they're making these students not as I want to say they don't want to come to the school. You don't want to go to a school where you're going to be freezing. You don't want to go into a school that's surrounded by barbed wire fencing. So that's the morale. That's the aura that these students are going into. That's the aura of this particular school. And I am very thankful for the guidance counselors that I had because they nominated me for this program. And I can also remember not knowing anything about it. I just knew that I was going to be going to Clemson for a week. I was going to be getting out of Allendale. That was enough for me. I was sold at that. And I remember the long 4-hour bus ride. It was the longest ride I had ever had. It was very long. I remember having my iPod and it almost dying because it was one of those older generation, the small ones. And I remember it almost dying on this ride. And I'm like, where are we going? And pulling up to Clemson, it was completely different from what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be this summer camp. I thought it was going to be us, playing outside. It was not. We stepped off the bus. We met our program advisors who were these college-age students. So they were very close to our age, and we could relate to them right off the bat. And I can remember having this relationship with them that is still going on today. I actually still talk to some of my program advisors from 7 or 8 years ago, like having conversations with them now and, updating each other on our lives and stuff like that. So getting off that bus and thinking it was going to be, playing sports and things like that, I was completely wrong. We were in classes. We were in English class, math class. We had science classes. I remember we had a sociology class, and who would want, when you first think about it, it's like what's a 15-year-old student would want to come, give it their summer for classes. But it taught us more than that. It prepared us for college. It gave us those college education courses. It got us accustomed to the atmosphere of being away from our parents and being in a college dorm and being independent. And I think that's one of the things that students from my area need to have. They need to have this college atmosphere. They need to have as much engagement into the college life as possible because some of them don't even think college is a right. They think of it as only a privilege that a lot of them don't actually get to attain. I graduated from the program in 2008. I graduated from high school in 2009 as a salutatorian of my class, and I went on to pursue my undergraduate degree. But even then, I still didn't grasp the bigger picture. To me, it was still just, getting away from school, getting away from home and going to this program. And I hadn't really saw the statistics that Amber was telling you guys about. I hadn't really seen the differences in schools. I actually thought that the condition of my school was a normality. I thought that, other schools are, surrounded by barbed wire fences, or other schools actually had buckets in the hallway when it was raining because the roof was leaking. And there was buckets in the hallway to catch the rain, as opposed to, having the funds to actually fix the roofing of the facility. I thought that was something that was normal. And it didn't take, it took only me going to school, talking to other students that I was in undergrad with, and actually becoming a program advisor to actually see these issues. And after that, I just knew that this is something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I was a political science major at Clemson. This has nothing to do with political science at all. I had a dream of going to law school, being in the Army Reserves, and that was going to be my life. And my second year as a program advisor, just working with the students and hearing some of their stories, I just realized that this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to help students like myself. I want to get them to where I am or even better. And that's what I've been doing for the past few years.
That's a tremendously powerful story, Jason. And I think when you talk about getting on that bus,
Yes.
from where you not having been on such an adventure before, you had some of your classmates on the bus as well?
Yes. There's actually at the time, the program was a lot smaller, so we didn't have as many, we didn't have the funding to have as many students as we do now. And I would say there were anywhere from about 7 to 10 students, maybe even 7 to 8 students from Allendale. So you're with people that you don't even know, and you're roomed purposefully with a person that is not from your school. So it really takes you out of that comfort zone and puts you into a place where you have to make new friends.
Yeah, well, I think that takes a lot of courage for a young man to do that sort of thing, but what a great step and decision that was, obviously. So thank you for sharing that.
And to have that personal experience,
Yes.
to be able to look back now and see what kind of impact you can have on those children that are coming through the program now,
Right.
and what it meant to you.
Yeah, you got the
that's
perfect
wonderful.
assistant
Yeah.
director.
I did a pretty good job.
You made a good selection, and yeah, so that's great. So, are we going to get to learn about this program?
Yeah, and so there is one more stat I want to show you. And when Jason says, I didn't know about all these numbers, and it is because they're just in it. That's their normal life. And so I do want to show you the reason why we started this program. So when you look at the stat here of college graduation rates, and so if you have 100 people, if only 8% of kids from low income communities are graduating from college by the age of 24, so you can see that they're represented there by the darker blue. If you go to high income communities, 80% of students are graduating from college, and we don't think that's right. We don't think that the income level of a family should determine if they go to college or not. And so we're really trying to intervene, and we want to take, even if they are from a low-income family or a low-income community even, we want them to be one of the dark blue people, and it doesn't matter where they're coming from. It really does matter where they're going. And so that's really the ultimate goal, because that number is very startling. The money that you have at home is directly affecting your chances of graduating from college, and that's what we're trying to change.
Well,
So
when you're in a low-income community, you just don't have an opportunity to see you don't have the opportunity to see the opportunities
Right.
that are out there.
Right.
So
you're just worried about being warm
Right.
at school. I mean,
Right.
that, when you think about schools in the upstate, I can't imagine, I have a son that's in the Pickens County school system. I can't imagine getting a letter from Clemson Elementary and saying, you need to send blankets and, coats. I can't imagine sending him eventually to Daniel High School and there's buckets in the hallway. They have a brand new facility that looks like a college campus, and so the kids are seeing that. They play sports at different schools. They travel along the state, and so if you see that I don't deserve a school that or the education that other people in this state are getting, and this is public education, that's a problem. So that's what we're trying to do. Is it doesn't matter that that's the school. You can make decisions that will change the outcome of where you go.
Yeah, I think that's a strong message that does. I mean, it's got to be a brave child to do what you did, because that message is really that you're not valued.
Right.
But this program comes in and says, "Oh yes, you are. Oh yes, you are," and that's an exciting opportunity. So, this is such a great project. Yeah. So, how do we do it?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about how it started. And so, it isn't something that people just think of and it happens. It takes money, it takes resources, it takes Clemson University to, be willing to do a program like this. So I want to talk about the founder. His name is Captain Byron Wiley. I have a couple pictures here of him. And so he actually started the program in 2001. He came to Clemson in 1999, and he took the position of Director of Office of Access and Equity. He had a brilliant career before even coming to Clemson. He was in the military for 30 years. He was a Navy captain, and so he shares that military experience with Jason, and they actually got to speak about that when he was in high school. He retired as a Navy captain, and he was actually the first African American to serve as a personal aide to an admiral. And so he was, leaving his legacy everywhere he went. And so after he retired from the Navy, he then became involved in higher education, and he really saw that there was a need to work with underrepresented groups. And so he has worked at Penn State, he worked at Johns Hopkins, at USC Santa Barbara, and then he came to Clemson, and he had worked with a similar program in Pennsylvania that was a urban program, and it did something very similar that Emerging Scholars does. But he came here and he said, well, there's not a lot of urban areas in the state, but there are some issues in our rural areas. And so what can he do to help that? And it really took his vision. He kind of put aside money in his budget. It didn't exist before he was the director. And then he went to President Barker at the time and said, this is very, very important to me. It's very important to the state. We are a land grant institution. What are we doing for the citizens and the education in the state? President Barker was very supportive. So we started with 5 high schools. Mr. Wiley went down, talked to the guidance counselors. And again, it was something that they had never heard of before from Clemson, to be honest. So Clemson does a great job of recruiting athletes. We have NFL and NBA players from Allendale and Bamberg and Hampton. But what about the academic part? So what are we doing with the academics? This is not a short-term grant where we have an outreach component that we're going to be there for a couple years. We want to come down here and change the culture of these schools and of these communities. And so, of course, they, after talking to them for a while, they understood that we were serious and it wasn't just something we're going to come in and leave. And so, I mean, I'm just so proud to say, like, we are on our 14th cohort. And the legacy he has left, Mr. Wiley passed away in November of 2011. He was 80 years old, had such an amazing life, and left so many great things behind. But I remember a conversation with him as he was retiring, which he did not want to do at all. If you know him, you know that was a very hard decision for him. And he said this: I will not have emerging scholars go away. I want someone here that will continue this legacy. And I am just honored to be that person. He called me. I worked with the program in grad school in 2001 when it started, moved away to DC for a while. They didn't have a full-time position. You know, you kind of have to prove things work before people want to join in, and I understand that. And so 4 years later, he called and he said, you know, I think I've got his full-time position if you want to come back. So I moved back down to South Carolina, and that was 8 years ago. And I am just so thankful to him for giving me that chance. And I mean, it really showed me what I want to do with my life. And it's kind of what we did for Jason. I mean, he did that for me. And so it's just such a wonderful thing for me. His family is still very involved with the program, comes every year to the banquet. His wife, Carol Ann, she calls me all the time to see how things are going, and just a wonderful support for me, and still connected to that family. So I do want to, you know, kind of tell you how it started, and it continues to be supported. You know, when you have a change of presidents, as we did, you wonder, okay, well, that's where I get my money, so what's going to happen? And President Clemens has just been a huge supporter of the program. I've talked with him numerous times about it, and even wants to grow it. So we are really excited, even with the change of our administration at Clemson. There is no backing down from this program. So we're really excited about all that.
That's a great story.
Yeah, I'm so glad you shared some history. That's really good.
What a legacy. And so I know he's smiling down from afar.
What
to
one
see
person can do.
what one person
Yeah.
can do.
Right, and that's what's so important. And he used to get up and tell the students that, you know, he would speak to them.
Yeah.
And now his son comes and speaks to all of our students at our banquet and says, you know, this started from one person, and he doesn't know you personally, but you are why he started this program. And it's so true. You know, he really did a lot, and it's such a legacy.
And so, Jason, you were in the program in some of the earlier years.
Yes, I was, I think, the fourth cohort.
Cohort
was it?
E. That's a fifth.
The fifth cohort. I was the fifth. Yeah, I was like, but I was the fifth cohort, and it's definitely grown and emerged since then. Now we usually only take, like I said, about 7 to 8 students from each school, and this past summer actually, we brought in 63 freshmen, and that's the biggest number that we've ever included into the program. So that's a great progress.
So how does it work today? I mean, what, you know, tell us.
Of course. I'm definitely going to get into that a little bit, but before that, we're going to get some insight from our students, and we're going to let them tell you a little bit about how the summer works and what they do when they're participating in the Emerging Scholars Program.
Okay, let's have a look.
Getting on the bus, seeing all these people I don't know, I was thinking, oh man, you know, heart's pounding, heart rate is up, but, you know, I overcame and I met a lot of new people. A lot of new people met me. It taught me how to manage, you know, how to be attentive, how to pay attention to the teachers, you know, and it helped me be more organized. And it's helping me make a decision of where I want to go to school.
Computer science class, it helped me choose my major because it just opened my eyes up to how fun it actually would be to create a program or build something the world has never seen before.
I've learned many things about colleges, opened up my mind at different opportunities and what I could be doing in a couple years. I plan on majoring in business and minoring in real estate.
I must say that it has been amazing because right now I am also one of the people that my little cousins are looking up to, because 2 of my younger cousins are now in the program. They are freshmen. It has been a family-motivated experience because it also impacted all of our lives.
And I've learned a lot about the college experience and how to handle time management and taking care of what you need to take care of before you have fun. And I've grown a lot as a student, and I understand that you shouldn't take the little things for granted. Anything that is handed to you, you should take it head on.
The college trips that I was able to go on because of Emerging Scholars, it really opened my eyes to my different options with colleges.
Emerging Scholars had played a role in my college career from the beginning to the end. I am the first person in my family to graduate high school, so of course I was the first one to go to college and to graduate.
Ananisa, Figueroa, Simithal.
My whole family was extremely proud.
And that was real inspirational to me because, like, she's my older sister. I want to follow her in all her footsteps, if not do better than her. And that really motivated me. They did sessions and workshops, basically small things like time management, how you can study better, get to know your professors, make sure you communicate with them. I can honestly say if it wasn't for the Emerging Scholars Program, along with my sister, I wouldn't be here at Clemson.
So as you can see, we do a lot of different things with our students. Emerging Scholars is not just a summer program. We incorporate a lot of different things throughout the school year as well. And as the assistant director, I'm in charge of workshops, school visits, and college trips. So getting into the workshops, we try to do about 3 every year. And in this particular semester, we are actually incorporating a college and career fair with our workshops. So the students come there, and that will serve as one of the workshops that we have throughout the school year. And this is the first year that we're doing something like that. And coming from our area, that's not an opportunity that we get that often. We don't get many college fairs or college trips. I can definitely attest to the fact that when I was in high school, I believe we only went on 1 college trip, and that was through my JROTC program. So that's one of the perks of this program, and that's one of the ways that we're growing, and that's some of the progress that we're seeing as well. We do team building workshops, we do classes and things like that, and we bring some of the program advisors down to USC Salkehatchie, which is in Allendale, and we just get them to see them, because once we're having that physical presence, they start to trust us more, and it brings that family orientation a lot stronger.
Jason, these particular things you're talking about happen during the academic year?
Yes, they
is that
happen
correct?
throughout the academic year.
I see.
Between the fall and spring semester, we try to split them up pretty evenly so that they're seeing us a good bit. Like I said earlier, we do school visits as well. And this semester, because I am a new full-time position, this is a new full-time position, we're going to be down there a lot more. Before, it was only, Amber juggling, doing it by herself. And now she gets to pass the torch. She gets to pass the torch. And I'm so excited because we've never really had that much presence in the schools before. So I get the opportunity to go down to the Low Country, visit the schools with the students, and just check up on them, see how they're doing, and help them with those college applications, help them with those resumes and things like that. I do believe, and I know Amber believes as well, that that physical presence is definitely something that we need to start instituting a lot more, and with a lot more consistency. College trips are amazing. The students are really excited about them. We actually have 2 planned for this fall, and we'll be visiting 4 schools, so 2 schools per college trip. We're going to be taking them to Lange, USC Columbia, USC Aiken, and they're also going to be going to Winthrop this semester, and that's just 4 of the schools that we take them to. Over the course of their 3 years in the program, they get to see over 12 schools.
I think it's an important point to just stop at for a minute, because we hope a lot of higher education institutions are watching the program today to learn about it, but oftentimes people think they are just going out for their university, but you're taking students to all different kinds, because some people outside the state may not know that some of these are small schools, some of these are large universities, and so forth.
Right.
So this is a major thing I think that we need to emphasize that you're doing, exposing them, just like anybody would when they look for a college. They want to find one that's a good fit for them, and so they're doing that as well.
Right, and that's one of the things we pride ourselves in. We're not a Clemson recruiting tool, we are a college recruiting tool. We're recruiting our students to go into the schools that are best fit for them. That's why we take them on so many different institutions. We take them to tech schools, we take them to vocational schools, we take them to 4-year universities and private universities and public universities, so they can see what best fits them, so that they can actually make a decision for them as a student. And I think that's one of the greatest parts of the program, because I actually didn't start off at Clemson before I transferred here. I was at Morehouse College, which is an HBCU in Atlanta, Georgia, and then I transferred here. And that is actually one of the schools that 2 of my program advisors were attending when I was in the program, and that's also one of the schools that we visited over the summer. So we get access to a lot of different things that we probably would not have gotten just from the schools.
They're going out of state as well.
Yes,
so
we
there
are.
Yeah, we go to the Atlanta area and the Charlotte area and just show them some more. Again, we don't have a lot of urban places in the state, but that doesn't mean that they're not right across the state border. So we show different options.
What an extraordinary experience for someone who grew up in Allendale in that area to go to Atlanta.
Right.
You know, really.
That's like the most exciting trip. That's the trip that the seniors, because only the seniors get to go on that trip, and that's the trip that they're looking forward to.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I'm coming back because I want to go to Atlanta.
Wow.
And the Mall of Georgia, of course.
Yes.
We sneak that in too.
We have to have lunch, you know.
They are high schoolers, so they enjoy the mall a little bit.
So, and the career fair, you'll take that to the county.
Yeah, we're actually, it's going to be at USC Salkehatchie, which is the place that we have our workshop. So they're very familiar with the area. They should all know how to get there. And the planning process has been great because this is something that we have never really done before. And it's exciting, it's nerve-wracking, but it's something that they deserve. It's something that these students deserve to have. They deserve this opportunity, and we're glad to present it to them.
I'm sure you'd be open also with the career fair to have people from outside of those counties to come in.
Yes,
talk
we
about
are
their
definitely
industries and
promoting it to other outside counties as well.
So when you have a career fair, because I think of a fair with booths, is it that sort of thing with different businesses, or who is at the fair?
This is our first time, so
okay. What you got on the drawing board here?
It hasn't happened quite yet, so I will report back. But I think our goal is to have a combination. So we definitely want to show that these schools and these universities are interested in our students. It's a very common stereotype that the schools don't care if they come there, and they don't have any interest in that area, and that's just not true. However, if a university doesn't have a history of students from that area coming, we have to do that work in inviting them and letting them know, there will be 200 potential students in one space, and that definitely gets them responding and coming to these things. So we are in the process now of planning that. The Clemson Admissions Office has been very helpful. There's actually a National Association of College Admissions. We're working with the southern region of that, and they're actually helping us sponsor it. And so that all came about because we took our kids to one at Winthrop. And again, it's hard to get all of our kids for a whole day and their parents. I mean, this is open to everyone. And so after that, Jason, again, and this was before he was even the assistant director, he said, why don't we bring this to the Low Country? And I was like, yes, why don't we? And so he has these great ideas. I might know a few people after 8 years of doing this work. And so together we're just trying to improve what we do. And again, like he said, we're inviting other students. So it is not going to be just emerging scholar students that can come. We're going to invite all students from all 5 of our high schools. And again, that organization, they have a registration process. We are having lunch for everyone. It's really going to be quite an event. And we're really excited. And other nonprofits in Allendale have reached out and they want to help sponsor. And so it's the first one. We're really, really excited, but, we'll be able to report back how it goes and hopefully grows.
Oh,
so
please
we're really
report
excited.
back. That is exciting, and it's exciting to see the growth.
It is.
It is. That's terrific. Okay.
I'm trying to think of other stuff in the academic year. That's
for the most part, those are the 3 big things that we focus on, but those are the 3 big things we focus on, but we're also going to be doing, we're thinking of a lot more innovative ways to reach out to the students and get into the actual facilities and stuff like that. And we're thinking of different tutoring events and stuff like that. So we're in the process of expanding different academic things throughout the school year as well.
Yeah, and so our main focus, though, and the main time that we get to work with our students for longer than a few hours is the summer. And so that is the first time that we meet our rising sophomores. And so they come to us for, depending on what grade they're in. And so I will never forget when I used to have conversations with Captain Wiley. He used to tell me the same thing over and over again. We need to motivate, orientate, and educate. They do rhyme, and so I always remembered it, the students about the college process. And then he had a philosophy. He never gave me any stats on this, but his philosophy was if students are proficient in English, reading, writing, and math, they are more likely to do better in college. So I've always kept that kind of in the back of my head as planning activities. And so our students are coming, we're 4 hours. Clemson is 4 hours from these schools. And so when they come to us for their weeks that they're there, they are not going home. And that's very different than some programs. There's some programs that work with students during the week and then they go home on the weekends. We don't have that luxury. And so the first time the students come to us is the summer before their sophomore year. They stay for a full week. They come back the second summer for 2 weeks, and then their last summer before their senior year, they come for 3 weeks. So that's a lot of times. That's the longest they've ever been away from home. And those last 3 weeks are like the first 3 weeks of college. I mean, they're taking classes. They're not my biggest fan all the time. I'm trying to stress them out. I'm trying to show them what it's going to be. So when something happens, we're there to help them through that. So that has really helped. And again, the feedback we get from college freshmen, sophomores are like, "Oh, we know why you did all that.
Good. Oh, good.
You're my friend now, Miss Amber. Before I wasn't your biggest fan. So it takes a while to get that. But again, they're teenagers. And so, their friends are home playing video games or, at the pool or just lounging. It's summer, and not our students. They have taken this time and put in this work during their summer weeks. Now, I want to reiterate, we have fun. Again, I don't think they would return if we didn't have fun, right? So we do all kinds of fun things with them in the evenings. We've started taking them to a trampoline park. We go to the lake, Lake Hartwell. We go have pool parties. Again, that's college as well. You have to manage your time, and so we let them do that. If you want to nap all Saturday afternoon, that's fine, but there's also library time available to you. And so if you don't get your work done, we're going to have that conversation. Well, what did you do during your free time this weekend? Things like that.
Well, I think I mentioned this to you the other day, is hearing one of the students say the term time management skills. And I thought, I never knew about time management skills when I was going to college. In fact, it's only been, in recent years that I've heard that term. And that's so key as far as a self-discipline that you need to have when you go to college and you're away from home. And what are the other kinds of, I don't know if you want to call them soft skills, but the skills that they learn to help them be prepared. There's the academic things you've mentioned, the English, the math, and so forth, and writing, all extraordinarily important. But time management is one of the other kinds of skills that you prepare them to manage. What else do they learn?
Right. Well, I think the most important thing that teaches them the leadership skills is during their first week. For the weekend, we send them actually out to the outdoor lab at Clemson, and they do the ropes course together as a group. And you would be amazed at the comments we get. Well, probably not, because we were probably the same way in high school. You see the zip line, and you think, that's nice, Miss Amber, but I will not be doing that today. And by the end of the day, they're all doing it. They're cheering each other on. You saw in the video. They might be screaming, but they're having a good time. And they return to campus, and they're just bragging. I mean, calling their parents, like, I did this. They got pictures, they got videos, but they did it together, and they did it as a group. And that is so important when you get to college. You're going to be working with people, working in groups, and so that's one of the biggest things we do at the beginning. And then that family atmosphere kind of starts to take place. Then they feel like with their cohort, they are a family. By the end of that 3 years, they see each other at football games down there, they, sporting events. I know that we do a lot of information at the workshops, but I'm pretty sure they come to see each other again and to catch up. And so that's what we want. We want them to feel like we're doing this together, and we're making the decision to come back, continue this work together, and they're keeping, they're holding each other accountable. So that's really something that we've seen. The other part, which I mentioned very briefly, is just the college preparedness, the application process. I went to college, and I'm learning new stuff. We're having to go to training to learn the changes with the FAFSA, the SAT, the applications. And so you can imagine it's overwhelming for a student. And even if their parent went to college, that might have been a while ago. And so a lot of things have changed. And so actually Jason teaches a class that's called College Ed. And it's just about, FAFSA information, what's a loan versus a grant versus work study. You're going to need to know those things. And he has the military background as well. Some of our students do go into the military, and we think of that as a success because, one, it will pay for your schooling eventually, and like what he did the ROTC, and he graduated as an officer, and so what better way to get your education? So, we have a lot of things going on in the summer, and it's a three-prong approach. It really is, like you said, the academics, it's the leadership skills and those soft skills, and then it's just simply knowing what it takes to get into college in that process. And so we're just another voice telling them that. Something that we have started, I do want to mention, is the parent involvement. So about 5 years ago, we started busing the parents up for a weekend. So they would send their kids off, and they do, on a Wednesday, and it's the first time they've let their babies go usually. But they know, okay, on Friday night, I'll be up there with you, and they spend the weekend. And they're in class while the kids are at the outdoor lab. and they're learning this stuff. Because again, I say this all the time, a teenager doesn't always take everything home that you tell them 4 times. It somehow doesn't make it out into their parents' information. So we tell the parents directly, and that has had a great impact on the program. You know, when they do call home, oh, it's hot out here, and all I do is walk. These hills are, you know, ridiculous. The parent's like, well, you better suck it up. That's what college is. And so they're reinforcing the same things we are, and it really has helped. And to be honest, we've had parents now that have gone back to school, and when you talk about trying to not get someone to cry, when they told me that for the first time, that wasn't even our goal, and yet they've heard about grant opportunities through one of our sessions, and so that's been amazing as well. You're just changing the whole family, and again, that's something, you know, Mr. Wiley used to say, we're not just changing a student, like we are truly changing a family, and the family then will change the community and the culture there. And so we've really seen that. We have a ton of students that are 2nd and 3rd generation. They're like Tiara said, cousins, brothers, sisters. You know, once one child goes through, it's just a given. Their family is like, all of our kids are going through the program.
And I know we're going to get to some impact data in a little bit, but you're hitting on so many different things that the National Dropout Prevention Center supports that are effective against high school dropout prevention, the family engagement, the school working with the community, the pathways into higher education and career awareness, and literacy and soft skills. I mean, just culture and school climate. So I know you've got some impact data for us too, but we wanted to ask you, how do students get into this program?
Right. So you heard Jason refer to his guidance counselor, and that is really the key to these schools. So I can walk in a school and, you know, have kids interested. I have no idea what their situation is. And again, something that Mr. Wiley made sure that the program was about is not the A honor students. We feel like if they want to go to Clemson or a USC or a Winthrop, they're going to go and they're going to be okay. So we really target B and C students. Now, does that mean that there's not an honor student that needs some motivation? They might have a situation at home. They might be living, you know, with grandparents or not have a good home situation. We're going to help them. But who knows that? I don't know that. You know, Jason doesn't know that walking into the school. The guidance counselors and the teachers know that. And so generally we take, like Jason said, now we're taking a few more from each school. But these guidance counselors are giving us about 15. I have one that gives me double that because she she could fill the whole program.
She wants everybody
with
to
one
go.
school. And she's on the video. You will hear her talk. Yes. And so we wish we could. You know, we could really go to one school and take 50 kids. But that's why the program works the way it does, is because you're bringing 5 different schools together. Again, it's very much like college. So your roommate, you're not sure who they are, and you have to deal with that. And you might not be the best of friends, but you have to live together, and how do you do that? And so that's how we work. They give us the applications, but I work directly with them. And so I try to take as many as I can. I'm not very good at saying no. That has been a problem. That's probably more why we had 63 and not 60. The goal was 60. And so I can never just stop at the number that I say. And so we're hoping to, you know, get even bigger and take more students. So we're really excited about that. But that's how we work with them, and they do an application, but it all comes through the school. But I do want to reiterate, after that, the guidance counselor is not doing anything for us. We know how overworked they are. We know they're not even seeing the students that they have on their list because they're so busy. So after that, we take it on. We do everything. We mail, you know, we're emailing, we're calling. We don't generally go through them to get our information out because that's just so much more work for them.
So do most of their recommendations tend to go? The people that the young people that they suggest, most of them do attend.
Yeah, I mean,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
I mean,
it's got a reputation then as hey, you want to do this if you get to be
right,
selected.
And that's something that's really changed too. I think the Clemson name helps a lot with the program. I mean, we don't have to recruit anymore. Right. You know, they're knocking on the guidance counselor's door in January saying, "I heard that the application." Like we'll put it on our social media sites, and then the kids are waiting for them. And so again, that's why we want to get bigger because we don't want to say no to anyone. And even the students that are doing really well, you hear the school situations. students. Even if you have a student that is an A student, when they're having to worry about all this stuff, we still don't know where they're going to end up. And so we really try to help all the students that need us the most.
Well, this is really exciting, and so that's an impact in itself. But what's the data impact? That you have some data that you're going to share with us?
Yeah, I'll let Jason take that.
Okay. The thing that we're about to talk about next is basically some of the numbers and where some of our students are actually at now. Like we said earlier, we're not a Clemson recruiting tool at all. We have students from as far away that attended Howard University. We have some in Florida. We have a lot in South Carolina. So we have students placed all over the place. And that's one of the things we pride ourselves in. And we just love the fact that we have those presences in those different schools and that we're able to say we have a student here, we have a student there, not just having, all of our students at Clemson. But this is probably the first year that we've had about 11 to 12 students at Clemson presently. So, the numbers are growing, and you can see that our college preparedness is kicking up a lot. Any student that has participated in the program has gone on to graduate from high school, even if they have not completed the program. If you have come to your first year or your second year and you didn't complete the program, they've all graduated from college. So high school.
Wow.
Excuse me. They've all graduated from high school and gone on to either into the military or a post-secondary institution. So that's some of the things that we pride ourselves in. We're changing that dynamic in the Low Country, and we're getting a lot of more students to actually apply for college, because when I was in high school, a lot of my classmates did not even apply. They didn't think that it was something that they were privileged to have.
And we can actually show the last part of our video, and it talks a little bit more about the impact.
Yeah,
and
let's
you
have
can
a look.
see the
Let's have a look at
students.
that. This is my third year with the program as a program advisor. I actually was in a program. I found out how a mentor can help you with everything, and it's a lifetime commitment. So I felt like I had to give back.
Having a mentor, having someone that can, guide you and help change some things in your life to better your life is very important.
I wish I had people that would have been able to do these type of things for me when I was growing up.
I think it's important to come back and show these kids that, you can do big things, if you believe in yourself and dream big and follow the right people and get the right mentors.
The more that you can experience and get an understanding about it, you're not afraid to venture off and go try it, and that's big. I really think most people and kids around this area, they're afraid because they've never experienced things like that, and the more that they can be around it and have access to it and ask questions, the better off they'll be.
But there's just a need here, and Emerging Scholars have been a program that has helped our need. It adds an extra educational aspect to their high school life. And the graduation rate, it speaks for itself. Emerging Scholars makes a difference in the lives of our children, and that's what it's all about. If we aren't here to help these young people, why are we here? It's a win-win situation for everybody.
College is your future.
So yeah, that is, we really can't say that better ourselves. Really just showing the different things the students are doing and how much they appreciate. And yeah, like Jason said, they are everywhere. They're all over. And I want to show the stat one more time about the percentage. We're so proud of these numbers. So 90% of our students who graduate from the program are in college or the military the year after they graduate from high school. But something we're really, really proud of, we've had over 500 students go through the program, and 100% of those have graduated from high school. And these are from schools that have some 30% dropout rates they have. And so we're really, really excited about that. There's something about coming to a college campus that is changing what they're thinking and the expectations they have. And so those are some really important numbers. We also just wanted to show a few pictures about some things that we have been doing. And so this picture is from our Board of Trustee meeting. We met with them last summer. And so this is President Clements, and all of these students spoke, and there were some wet eyes in the crowd. And so they really understand the work that we're doing. Here is a picture at our banquet. So at the end of the summer, they get to, we have a large graduation banquet. We have speakers come in. Like I said, Captain Wiley's son comes in and speaks, and that is Jerry Knighton. He's the director of the Office of Access and Equity, and that's the office we're in. And of course, that's myself and one of our students, Jasmine. This was from this past summer, so we had an event with Wells Fargo, because they are our biggest donor. We had all the students together at a luncheon, and so, and then there's just some more pictures from our banquet.
Well, Amber, let me ask you this, and seeing the Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
First of all, how much does it cost a student to be involved in this? I mean, is there any fee for the families? And then where do you get your funding?
Right. So we have a very easy number to remember. So it costs $10,000 per student to get through the whole 3 years. And so that's not $10,000 a year. That is $10,000 for the whole program. And there's absolutely no cost to the family or to the student. So that begs for the next question of how do we pay for that? And so that is honestly through Clemson University. They have funded us from the beginning. Like I said before, when Mr. Wiley went to President Barker, that money came from the president's budget, and it still does today. However, as we have said numerous times, we're growing, and the budget hasn't necessarily grown from Clemson. Right. We all know how times are, but we have gotten a lot of outside assistance. Wells Fargo is our biggest foundation that has given us money. However, individual donors are really stepping up now, and that's why I need Jason so much. My job has changed a little bit and is really talking to donors, getting the word out about the program, because like you all, before someone mentioned it, you didn't even know it was here, and it's been here for 12, 13 years. So that's what I'm trying to do, is really get the word out. We actually had our largest individual donor last year, Ron Taylor. He's an alum of Clemson, gave us $100,000. And so you can imagine my face when I got that call. It started our first endowment, and he actually named it after Captain Wiley, and he didn't even name it after himself. Right. So it's people like that are stepping up. Our board of trustees, after that presentation, almost every single one has donated from their own pocket. That says something right there. Right. It's not just Clemson funds. It is their own money. And then people are just coming forward, and they want to help a student. Trevor Booker, who is in the NBA and plays for the Utah Jazz, played for Clemson basketball, he's supporting students in our program. So, it's a great new addition to my job, and it's really just great to see. You don't even have to be a Clemson alum, because our students are going wherever, all over the state. So we have USC alum. We have our workshops at USC. We are trying to collaborate with whoever will help. And the exciting thing about the cost is that it has been proven over 2 years, if you graduate from high school, you're putting $16,000 back into the economy in 2 years. So our program pays for itself a year and a half, and that's without college. Yeah. So we know they're putting more in the economy because they're going to college. So what an investment. I'm sure that's Wells Fargo sees that.
I was going to say, you're having such an impact on the students, and I know we're going to see an impact on those 3 counties. Poverty.
The numbers.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, so we're excited, and we're hoping to, grow. We are looking in the PD area. Again, that corridor, the 95 corridor, you could really just throw a dart at the map and really work with any of those counties. But we are looking at Marlboro and Dillon counties. We're going to make a decision about that in the next year. But so many things are going on, and we're just really excited. And we thank you for letting us come here and tell you all about it.
Oh, well, the thanks come from our side for you telling us about something that not only warms our heart, but gives us hope. Because, this is an area that we're very familiar with in our state that has had some real challenges. And to see this transformation, this 100% graduation rate. Karen, this is, deserves some kind of a special award from the National Dropout Prevention Center, I would say. And thank you both, Jason and Amber, for being with us today. We do have contact information up there on the screen for you to see how you can reach Amber by phone, by email, and by that Twitter. And then there's their website as well. So we hope that this generates a discussion. Lots of questions that I would have if I was interested in this, really getting down to the devil of the details of the program in the first year and the second year, third year. There's just so much we could not cover today. But Amber can cover that with you if you're ready for it. So there she is. And Jason, who will be traveling the state and doing all kinds of good deeds. So good luck to you both for the coming year. We look forward to hearing about the career fairs and other things. And so thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
So here we are at the end of another show, but this has been the most inspiring one I've been to for a long long time, and so I'm feeling really good today.
Well, we'll put those resources up and some of the data.
Yes,
on the
yes,
page.
absolutely. Yeah, and here we are, we're heading toward, oh my goodness, November's coming around the corner, all the holidays and so forth, but we have a special show, of course, as always. Next time our guest will be in the studio, and I believe the topic is circling around service learning and STEAM.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a good one next
interesting.
time as
Yeah.
well. So hope you two tune in too.
We will.
Of course.
And I hope to see everyone in San Antonio in October
That's
25th.
right.
Yep, October 25th, or Myrtle Beach in
That's right.
February.
That's right.
So
And
please
it will be a benefit to you and your staff if you do such a thing. Well, it's time to wrap it up, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and see you next month. This is Marty Duckenfield.